I think about songcraft and song structure all the time. More than I'm aware that I think about it. I'll
Mhm.
realize that I'm like talking about it with someone and I'm like, oh, I'm the weirdo who's brought up like some weird choice that Donald Fagen made somewhere and nobody cares. And why am I? And I heard the song at FedEx and now I can't stop taking it apart. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody, episode number 567, aka the 12th year of the podcast. This episode marks 12 years of doing this podcast, and it's always been fun. It's been great. I love it still. I've had some other things just kind of eat up my time, but I'm here. I'm back. I had to drop some episodes during the birthday month of the podcast. And you also know I got to change the theme song because that happens every year. And my buddy, Mr. David Black, aka one of the heads of the band Blackfield Music, they're just called Blackfield, did the theme, and I love it. I'm all about it. It's a different vibe, and I love it. I'll talk more about that, because I need to talk about my returning guest. Buick Audra is back, and I had a lovely chat with her the first time around, and I was so looking forward to chatting with her again for this, and just a lovely, effervescent human being. New album, get it? It's wonderful. I had a fun time listening to it. But yeah, you know what? I'm kind of done talking because I want to actually get into this chat. Again, enjoy the music from Blackfield, Black underscore Field underscore music on YouTube, and let's get into it. All right. So Buick, take it away.
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, lots of ups and downs and whirlies all around. So, I'm hanging in there.
I do know. It's quite a time to be a person, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it it is, and I'm also envious of past people. I guess I should say. Like us
people...
us in the past, how
yeah,
things
do you mean like
be.
as recently as last year?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go back a little bit further too. Like maybe I don't know, 2009? I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
the only thing about 2009 was that we were in the middle of that insane economic collapse that happened after the mortgage bubble burst.
Yes.
But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, it's not great. And the forecast is not great.
No,
at all.
It's interesting times, but as long as we have each other, and also are able to think, I don't know, logically, I think we'll be okay if we band together.
Yeah. And remember to keep taking care of the individual self. I have had periods of time since the first Trump presidency where it's it becomes so overwhelming and you're engaged to whatever degree. And then you're like, wait, my own body is falling apart and my own, it's hard to balance all of the things that have to be maintained individually and then participate culturally and communally, I think. It is for me, at least. I have to keep an eye on it. Maybe other people are better at that.
Yeah, I always think about this, if I can go back and not be as in the know as I am now, just oh man, remember those great days of just being oblivious and oh, what's going on? But I just kind of think back to the riots, and that's when, I don't know, a switch was flipped in my brain, and I just kind of saw everything different from then.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad thing, of course, but I'm just man, What happened with like being a kid and playing with Play-Doh? What are those good old days?
And maybe even eating the Play-Doh,
You know what?
depending on
Why
who
not?
you were.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Look, they give you the food mold. Like, what are you supposed to do? It's rude if you don't eat it. So
Confusing messaging at best. I forget, Chris, what state are you in again? Where do you live?
I'm in the lovely Texas.
That's what I thought. And I'm in Tennessee, so we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
parallel things happening.
Yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend's cousin, and I'm originally from Oregon, and
Okay.
I was telling him my story and just all this, and I go, I miss being in a blue state. And he goes, "Oh, I bet. And I go, "Yeah, but anyway."
Although I do think like, I moved here from Brooklyn and
Mm,
I lived in Boston before that, and I'm
mm,
originally from Miami. It's interesting now, like when I maintain communication with my friends who do live in maybe not blue states, but
mm,
blue parts of the state. Like people in Seattle
mm.
are in a blue area, but a lot of Washington is wild. I mean,
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
okay. And it's like they sometimes are afforded like a different, like they think that what's going on around them is what we're all experiencing. And
right.
I do, while there's relief in that, there's also privilege in that. And
Hmm.
as somebody who's lived in Tennessee for a while now, I am not really afforded that. I mean, I'm white, so I have that privilege, of course, but I don't get to like pretend that things are not as extreme as they are,
Right,
because Tennessee is one of the most extreme states in the nation. So
right,
it's you have to know that if you live here, I think.
right, right.
You
Yeah.
are not, you cannot pretend that it's all just whatever you're seeing right around your house.
Right. I had a friend again from Oregon, complaining about, oh man, this city's gone downhill. I go, oh, tell me what's up. Well, when we purchase electronics, we have to wait for somebody to unlock them.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
sitting there just thinking, like, what? What the fuck? Is this what you're complaining about? Really?
Also, how
What?
are you even aware of that? What are you even talking about?
I
Like that's
really, yeah. And then I'm just like, well, in Texas here, that's how it always. I'm just like, oh wow. Then every place in wherever you go is going to be ghetto, because I feel like that's just a normal thing. Um,
yeah.
but I was like, all right. Another friend of mine who is still in Oregon, and I think about him and his mom a lot, because the mom was very um, liberal. She talked to us like adults. It was the
Hmm.
first grown up that just cursed around me, and not
Right.
not at me, but of course, like, oh, you're talking to me like an adult, okay.
Yes, I know
So
what you mean.
I have so much respect for her still, and her son, my friend, is continuing that torch of just, hey, this isn't right, and just like posting these videos of what isn't right. And I'm just like, oh man, he's carrying the torch now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't know, I love to see. You love to see it.
Me too.
But so what's going on? How are
Oh,
you?
I'm
uh
okay. Thanks for doing this. I was trying to remember when the last time we talked was. It might have been when my last solo record was coming out, Conversations with My Other Voice, right? Did we talk
yes,
in
yes.
between?
And yes, we talked about that in the book.
In the book, right? They
Yeah.
came out together, and we didn't talk around the last Friendship Commanders album cycle, though. I didn't think, right? I was like, I don't remember us talking about
I don't
that.
think so.
So yeah, it's been a few years. It's good. My album's out in a week and a half, so I'm, you know, stressed and
Mm,
kind of just in that weird, fragile place of like, oh my God, like it's very. I think some people have an easy time releasing music. I don't know
mm.
what their lives are like or what's going on. Honestly, I've never
Yeah.
had an easy time with it, but I'm proud of the record, and so I'm excited in some part of my system, and then the rest is like trying to not fail at it,
Right.
you know?
Right. It's just like, can
Um,
this be out already? And then people listen to it, and then we move on.
right. And it's wild. Like releasing music involves so much other stuff that has nothing to do with music at
Yeah.
all, you
Yeah.
know? I've been booking tours, and obviously you have to be on social media every second you're alive,
Yeah.
and you have to be. It's like I try to think about it instead of promoting myself, that I'm promoting the work and that the work deserves to be shared. And I do believe that now. And I don't
Mm,
think I had that in my toolkit years ago. I felt like ashamed of talking about the work
mm,
because, well, I was made to. My
mm.
family's weird. And then also just like depending on the backdrop you're from, like some scenes are not about like, hey, let's talk about what I'm doing and what I'm
Right,
making. But
right.
like if you're going to the amount of labor that goes into actually making a full-length record and
Mm.
bringing it into the world is profound.
Right, right.
And the expense. So talking about it is part of the job. So that's how I look at it now.
Yeah, I totally relate with that. I've always had this thing that I don't say what I am. Other people say what I am. So
Yeah.
I'm never gonna say I'm a podcaster. Other
Okay.
people have to say that for me to be like, I guess I am. I don't know. But I have this like, I'm just a person. I'm just talking. And that's what was instilled in me. So when I hear people go, I'm a this, I'm a that, the first thing I think is, no, you're not, because you're saying it. It's not true. Um, but obviously, in your case, I mean, I'll say it, you're a musician. You did an
Yep.
album.
I made it out of music.
Yeah, a couple. So there we go. It's done. We did it. No, but I,
Yeah.
I, I love that. Is this whole process of talking about it, from what you said, is it hard to talk about all of this when it's just like,
No, it's not hard to talk about it like in this context.
okay.
And you're a great person to speak with. But when I have to get on camera for like social media
Oh,
and be
yeah, yeah.
like, hey, I'm so and so, and this is what's happening, and this is why, and this is how I did it. Like that feels awkward for me. I have to force myself to do it. But I,
Mm,
I actually think this kind of thing is a gift because, there have been times in my life where I've put work into the world and no one has asked me any questions about
mm,
it. And so um, it's a huge privilege to have anybody interested in what you're making and to have the opportunity to say more about the work because everybody's album is more than just the compositions on it. There
right.
are there are themes and through lines and decisions and like I'll tell you, I wrote 18 songs for this record and recorded 8 of them. So
Hmm.
there's obviously a lot of process that goes into putting a body of work together, and I think it's a privilege and also a great opportunity to be able to talk about it,
Mm,
that I
okay.
that I haven't always had.
It's funny because I mean, like you've touched on it, like, oh, now I have to do videos. Like in one hand, yes, you are the musician, you're the singer, the songwriter, all this, and then it's like, okay, let me take off that hat and let me put on a different content creator hat. Okay, and it's just like, what happened to the days of, I don't want to do that. Can somebody else do that?
Yeah.
Which I get, yeah, and that's just kind of the whole social media. I miss not having social media. I, I
Oh,
the
I think it's not good for us at all in a lot of ways,
yeah.
but one of the things I try and keep in mind when I'm doing all that, especially if I'm going on camera, is that I always try and actually be who I am so
Mm,
that
mm-hmm.
there isn't this like character of myself that I'm playing. I try to always just be like, hey, and
Right.
speak the way that I do when I'm speaking to you or anybody else, and have there be a through line so that like the next part of this whole thing, right, when I'm on the road and I'm playing for people and people are interacting with me at the shows, I'm still recognizable as somebody that they saw on their phone. I'm not
Mm.
like yet a third version of me. I mean,
Yeah.
I have met artists like that where the work and the presentation of the work sort of lives in one space and then you meet them and they're very disconnected from
Yeah.
that identity. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it can be a little bit disorienting to come up against that and be like, "Oh wow, you're a completely different kind of person than I would have expected from this work or from the way you
Right.
present yourself."
Right. Especially if you're a fan meeting that person, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and this, it's partly why I don't like to, look, I don't see very many celebrities. Let me just say that. But there's times when I'm like, oh, there's that person. I'll leave them alone. I don't. I like them. I don't want that illusion to be messed with. But also, I'm just thinking they're just walking around. He's getting a sandwich. I'll just like, come on, just back off. I'm, you said something which I will get back to, but I'm very curious. From the time you started music, how has your relationship changed with it from then to today?
From the way that I feel about my own music, my relationship to music that I make, or music in general.
Let's do in general.
Let's see. Let me think about that. I'm still like a huge student of music and consumer of music, which has always been true. I was born to songwriters and musicians as well. So music has always been like a first language for me. And, songcraft and song structure and the way that songs exist in the world has always been something that I've studied, and it still is. And I'm glad about that, because I think that makes me a better musician and songwriter, instead of being a person that's like, well, no, I'm part of it and I have my own, I mean, I'm still in awe of music. So that part's true. I guess I just feel more a part of the conversation, and that I have contributed things, but I'm still like a huge music geek and fan, and I'm constantly learning. And I think about music all day, every day. And I don't mean the music that I make. I just mean music in the world. I think about songcraft and song structure all the time. More than I'm aware that I think about it. I'll realize that I'm like talking about it with someone, and I'm like, oh, I'm the weirdo who's brought up like some weird choice that Donald Fagen made somewhere and nobody cares. And I heard the song at FedEx and now I can't stop taking it apart. You know what I mean? Like, so, I guess that's still true, but yeah, I'm just part of the conversation now. And as far as my relationship with my own music goes, that's been a difficult journey. And I'm finally now in a place of, because I am estranged from my family were very bizarre with me about my music. I think because I was born to musicians, there was this kind of, what's the right word? One of my parents competed with me when I got into music, and was mean to me about my work, and would still be mean to me about my work if they had a lot of access to me. And so my relationship with my own work was always very strange. It was like it belonged to me, but I was ashamed that I made it, and I didn't feel like I was allowed to take up space with it. And that is still in there, and I think will always be in there, but I fight it now. Okay. Now I'm like, I advocate for the music much, much more than I did for a while there, and that I would if they were still in my life, I guess, and that's unfortunate, that type of thing. It's certainly not exclusive to me. I actually know a bunch of other musicians from music families who have odd relationships to their work because the family was either unsupportive, or then there's this other weird thing that happens with like wonderkind kids where like they were expected to be like savants and prodigies and for greatness to pour out of them. So there's not a lot of room for experimentation, that kind of stuff. I didn't have that. I had the opposite, where they were like, it was very negative. The messaging was strange and negative. So I'm just now learning to, in these last few years, learning to like just stand with my work and have it be not such a big deal, because it is such a natural part of who I am in the way that I perceive the world and process the world, that there doesn't even need to be ego involved. It just needs to be about like accepting that this is, as you said, like you're a musician, like that's the truest thing you can call me, I think.
And I said it, so it's true.
We did it.
Well, so I'm just kind of curious, hearing all this, was it hard for you to let people into the music, like collaborators, producers, like some people to help you out with it? Was it hard?
Sure. I mean, not in the beginning, because in the beginning I was just like, yeah, I'm doing it, And my original collaborators, the first people I ever collaborated with were my only sibling, Bowie Russell, and our friend Levi Fuller, and they're my family. So that was, and we all lived together at different points in that story. So we were just like, this is, of course, who we're all going to make work with is each other, but as my story changed and my parents would, one of my parental figures would stop speaking to me every time I put music out, for years at a time. Yeah, I developed a complicated relationship with myself and then with collaborators. And it's funny to circle back to the thing that you were saying about not wanting to meet certain people that you admire or celebrities or whatever. Steve Albini was, like Steve Albini's band Shellac is probably one of the top 5 most important bands to me in my life. And, Steve was my favorite recording engineer for many, many years of my life. But really his music that he made was so central to my understanding of rock music. And so like in my cells that I was like, oh, I never want to work with Steve because I heard he was like kind of hard on people, you know? And so I was like, I love his work so much. I hope I never work with him, even though he's my favorite recording engineer. And Friendship Commanders, my other band, ended up working with him in 2017. And it was like the opposite. It was like, he was like the greatest collaborator you could have. Yeah. And so, I was afraid of collaborators back then. And Steve was really who turned that around for me. And now I'm less afraid. Now I work with all kinds of people in different projects. And, I tend to stick with certain groups of people, not only for the ease of our collaborative dynamic, but for their talents and for what we're sort of able to make without a lot of like conflict together. But yeah, there was a time there in the middle where I was like, I'm not working with anyone. And I became like obsessed with recording myself. And now I record my vocals because I love to, but I got good at doing it because I was afraid of collaborating with people.
Right, for sure. Right. But again, I love that you were able to come around and now you have a good one. You have a good story about somebody who you respect. I love that. I feel like that's just even more special than a bad one. So. Something you said earlier about the album where you wrote 18 songs.
Yeah.
And then you whittled them down. How does the whittle process go? Do you just kind of go by feeling, or is it just like, okay, well, this song's not there yet. Maybe I'll push it to the side for something else, or, like how do you whittle it down, out of 18 songs?
It's the songs that haunt me.
Oh,
they make the record.
Okay.
So certain songs, whether you've finished writing them or you're still in the process of writing them, some songs take a long time. Yeah. My current single that's out right now took 3 years to show itself to me. But I heard it all along. So that's being haunted. So like I would hear these parts of it over and over and over again. If a song does that to me, even if it's finished, if I hear it in my head all the time, a year after I wrote it or whatever, and I feel compelled to, like when I'm sitting around in my office by myself, to pick up my guitar and play that song, I'm being haunted. And that means that's a song that is worth bringing forth on a louder level. So recording, I demo everything that I write just so I have a record of my work in my life. But the songs that make a record are the ones that are the loudest of the group in my own mind, and kind of never leave me alone. And they really will never leave me alone until I bring them forth in like a serious way. So it's always been like that. And now I just don't question it, and I trust it and go like, these are the 8. These are the ones that wanted to be on the record.
Right. I've never heard that response. So I absolutely love that. When I was in film school, I would write things and then get the actors to do it and everything. And I remember one of the actors I was talking to him and I just said, I just need you to do it. He goes, but you don't, when if I have questions, I'm like, no, I understand what you're going to do. I understand what you bring. It's all done. I just need to film it. And he was just, whoa, so I can't trip you up? I go, no, I know what you're going to do. But that feeling of, yeah, it's still in me. It's like, I get that feeling of just like, whoa, it's done. Let's just get it out there in this digital tape, and then okay, I'll be able to move on.
Yeah, and then they do release you, right? It's
Yes.
like once that happens, like they live in it, they exist in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and they sort of set you free. But yeah, I mean, this record is called Adult Child, the
Mm-hmm.
record that I'm putting out right now. And so there's a theme around that about being from like an uneven background and how that informs like what I'm like now,
Mm-hmm.
like my sort of insecurities, unsurenesses, like perfectionism, all that kind of stuff. So all of the songs that I wrote, all 18, like made sense under
Mm-hmm.
that umbrella. So it
Yeah.
wasn't about like, oh, it doesn't fit the thing. Like they
Right.
all they all did make the cut in a thematic sense, but it was about the ones that like knocked the loudest.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of the ones that knocked, which one was the one that one or two, whatever, that you were just like, ooh, I'm really looking forward for people to hearing this one.
Questions for the Gods of Human Behavior, which
Mm.
is the first single I released from the record, and the first song that I finished for the record.
Mm-hmm.
I remember finishing that, and all this time, I wrote it 2 years ago, all this time have been like, I think it's one of the best songs I've ever written,
Mm-hmm.
and it most accurately expresses this season of my life right now, which is that I have all of this like understanding of like my past sort of tendencies and the way that I came into the world and how I developed relationships with other people. Like I understand all that,
Mm-hmm.
but there's this piece of me where I'll still catch myself like wanting to be liked by somebody that's not good for me or that's like
Mm.
mean to me. These like
Yeah.
sort of little like subtle moments with myself that are not obvious to the naked eye. They're not some big dramatic moment in my day, but I catch myself still sort of leaning into the old ways of trying to
Mm.
connect and be known and seen. And so that song really holds that for me. And I had never heard a song that talked exactly about that
Mm.
before. And so I really wanted that one to come into the world for sure.
I love that. And so when you get it out there, does that sense of what you were saying is people being mean to you or you wanting to impress them, does that kind of, I don't know, not like let it go, but just like, oh, I am doing this, maybe I can work on this idea, or just like a part of that just goes away, it goes into the song and then it leaves you.
For sure, because what I've done is marked the spot where I know it's true,
Mm.
So like that song, and then the single that came out after it is called Yellow. And I wrote that song
Mm.
about being in the studio with these guys that I
Mm-hmm.
made this record with my collaborators, and casually joking that I hated myself. And I remember being like, God damn, this is old. Like this kind of thing that I'm doing right now
Mm-hmm.
is like grade school old,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this sort of like jokey, self-deprecating, like I'm going to be the funny one that's mean about myself. I mean, that got in there middle school at
Mm.
oldest.
Yeah.
And so saying it in the song and marking the spot where I observed it in myself as an adult, it will forever be marked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like the flag in the planet being like,
Right.
this is where I saw this happen, and I'm going to try and do better for myself.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it does lessen it to some degree because also you're admitting it out loud, and I don't feel like we're invited to admit what we know of ourselves. We're supposed to,
Mm.
like, you're talking about the social media thing and how fatiguing it is, and those are not your words, but I think that's what
I
we've
mean,
been
they
talking.
sound better than my normal words, so I'll go with it. Yeah.
I think one of the things that is fatiguing about it is constantly feeling like we're supposed to be putting forth these like absolutely nailing it personas or
Right.
versions of
Right.
ourselves, like everything is working out, and like
Right.
I'm just moving through my life with all of this confidence and ease, and like I'm not moving.
Mm. Right. Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, I'll say this, I have enough self-regard and confidence to make the work that I do and to follow through enough to put it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am a person that is like deeply afraid that I'm doing it badly or that
Mm.
nobody will understand it and I'm a lonely person. Like these are all true things. And I think that it's like kind of a relief to say it out loud. And
Right.
maybe it's a relief for other people to hear it that, you can be doing well. You can be moving through your work and the things that you're trying to do and be accomplishing those things and still be like, God, it's exhausting to be a human. And I caught myself saying something weird about myself.
No, I love that because, I guess during the pandemic, I had a couple of jobs that came along, and there was something always just egging at me, like something is wrong here. And it was that sense, and I never even thought of it being a thing until I had these two jobs. It was toxic positivity. Oh, and God. I was just like, no, like, stop acting like everything's good. Everything is not good. And we're adults and you can tell us and we'll be fine. Cause I mean, I would be fine at least, but whatever job it was, I was always looking for the person who was just like, tell me what's the DL, like what's really going on? Because there's too many positive people here, and I don't trust anybody with that, so I get it. Yeah. And it's always nice to see. I mean, I feel like the theme for this episode can be, it's always nice to see somebody who's real. That's it. It's just like a real human. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And real humans are complex, right? Mm-hmm. Like none of us are just the difficulties or just the sort of confidences and accomplishments. Mm-hmm. Like, why would we not be all of those things woven together walking around, So yeah. I think this record is about both of those things being true and having enough self-regard to be like, this kind of dynamic no longer works for me, but also I'm doing this weird thing, so like having self-regard and self-doubt, those things can coexist,
I love that. And I listened to the album and I really did enjoy it.
Thank you.
I know it's, a lot of issues, but I was just like, this is a really pretty album. I just I dug the vibe, and,
Thank you.
I love going into an album where I don't know what is expected. So walking out of that or sitting, I don't know. Anyway, I just enjoyed the album so much, and I can't wait for more people to hear it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for calling it pretty. I think it's pretty too. I think it's a really melodic. It's like a melodic record. And there's some rock stuff, but it's still very song focused. And I really flipped out with vocals on this record and had a lot of fun with lead vocals and also backing vocals. And Kurt Ballou mixed this record, which is an unusual thing for Kurt. For people who don't know Kurt, he's a very established metal musician himself, and very well known for producing and recording and mixing very heavy records, including my other band, Friendship Commanders. So he's been my collaborator for like 6 years at this point, and he had never worked on my solo stuff, but he'd heard it and he knew about it. And there was something about this record that I just was like, it is this singer-songwriter record, and it does have all of this sort of varied musical genre stuff going on, but Kurt knows my voice so well, and because I wanted it to be so vocal forward, he was the right call, and I love what he did. It's super befitting, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like this album is more you than anything else, and I was just like, I got a kick out of it. I was just enjoying it. I was like, and I've heard your previous work, but I just felt like this is you.
Yeah,
you in audio form. Like, is this going to be on record? is this going to be a LP?
It's not on vinyl, not yet. It's on CD, but I know maybe I should get vinyl made at some point. I never know if there's like a demand for that. Singer-songwriter stuff, it's like, it's not the same as the metal world where everybody collects the vinyl.
Right.
Like kind of a different cultural market, but maybe at some point I would love to have it pressed to vinyl. But yeah, it is very me. I feel like it's a self-portrait, like exactly. And the many different parts of my musicianship, but also self are on this recording,
And, for the people at home who would like to, again, tying everything up to the social medias, who want to listen to the album, pick it up, see, you mentioned you're getting a tour going, all that good stuff. Just be kept in the know. Where can they do all that?
So I mean, I'm on socials at Buick Audra everywhere, and I have the weirdest name that so you can just find me there. And BuickAudra.com obviously has everything. And my album release show in Nashville is June 13th, which is album release day at the Basement. And Grantley Phillips, who's an astonishing songwriter and musician, is opening the show. For people that remember Grantley Buffalo, he was the front genius in that band. And then I'm on tour in July, all around. So find my tour dates, come see me. I'm touring solo electric, which I don't get to do that often, and I'm really looking forward to it. I just got a new Princeton Reverb amp that I'm taking on the road.
Okay. There we go.
For the gearheads.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Well, good. And again, I really enjoyed the album, and when I saw that you had something coming up, I was like, "Oh, I better get that interview. I hope I get that interview." And then it happened, and now we're here. I enjoy talking with you, and I enjoy everything about you. So just I feel like
the kindness.
Of course, I feel like I don't have to tell you to keep being yourself, because I think you're just going to do it. So I'm so happy to chat with you.
You as well. Thank you for taking the time and having the interest, and I appreciate everything that you do. So I'll see you out on the internet.
Yes, we'll see each other on the internet. Yes, but you have a wonderful rest of your day, and keep staying safe and healthy. All right.
You as well. Thank you, friend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.